Dun, 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 dun.
I've made mention of this in the past before. I'm not a vampire movie person. You might recall my comments to the Blood from Stone movie that came out a while back. I covered the first trailer, not the second one. I will cover that eventually at some point, but as I noted with that first trailer, aside from some other content objections that were presented there, I'm not a vampire person because usually vampire movies tend to entail a lot of gore, and excessive blood in movies makes me sick. So I'd rather not feel sick when I watch a movie. And just, I get it, like, oh yeah, we're human beings, we all have blood running in our veins, but I don't need to see it presented in a film. I just find it really gross. And I understand it's in a lot of horror films these days. It's part of the reason I have so many conditions when I go into watching a horror film. Okay, what does that IMDb Parents Guide say in terms of the content I can expect? I consult that religiously. If it tends to be excessively gory, I tend to shy away. So it's been the case in the past with many vampire films like Blood from Stone. I don't know if this one will go that direction. Maybe it will, but let's see what I think. I want to give it a fair chance to prove me wrong. So this is called Caleb. It's a new Italian Gothic vampire horror mystery movie. That is a very interesting blend. Quite fascinating. I've never really seen too many Italian movies before, but the Gothic horror mystery thing, it perks your interest a bit. So it releases August 20th of 2020 in Italy. I did check the IMDb release date list, and I didn't notice release dates really for any other countries beyond Italy and India. India is going to be getting this one in 2021, so I don't know if and when there will be a U.S. distribution, if any way. Probably, my guess is eventually maybe it will, because I did note, I'll get to that later on. But it does sound interesting. So it stars a whole list of talent that I'm currently unexposed to. I don't recognize any of the names. I did look into about 5 of them, which I found this very interesting. 5 of the names in the cast, including Roberto D'Antona and Anna Maria LaRusso, all starred in similar pictures. There's actually plenty there that I'm like, there's some real consistency here, and that also applies to who's putting out this movie. I also did find it interesting, too, the 2 leads I just mentioned, who are best friends in real life. They share many roles here beyond just being the lead actors, I'm pretty sure, in the film. Both of them serve as not only actors, but writers, executive producers, producers too, and editors. And then Roberto is also the music supervisor and the director, and Anna Maria is the costumer. So these 2 are really, well, I mean, everybody I'm sure is doing, their part, but I don't want to judge everybody too unfairly, but these 2 are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, which kind of got me thinking maybe this is a much smaller picture than some of the other ones that, would be out there for these types of movies. And not only that, I mean, that's only really one factor that gets me thinking that LD Productions, I've never seen a project from them, so this is my first introduction to their work. I did notice that they produced many of the films that the actors in this particular movie have been in, so there really is a lot of consistency here. And also ITN distribution, at least on IMDb, is listed in the credits. I did note that they were listed with the caveat of worldwide on their name, so I'm like, maybe that means that's going to be getting some eventual global exposure at some point. Again, that's unconfirmed. I don't know if there's a release date in the works for other countries besides Italy and India, but I would assume maybe. But they're listed here, and based on some of the past work that I've seen from this distribution company, including, just picking out a small handful, The Devil's Fairground, Clown Doll, American Zombieland, they've all had a very smaller budget feel to them. I mean, some of them certainly do make work of what they have, and I think they at least look decent. But it definitely tells me when I see their trailers, like, yeah, you guys are operating with many more constraints and on a much smaller scale. So that kind of, all those little factors lead me to think that maybe this is another one of those smaller budget pictures, but hopefully it won't play it that way. If it plays its cards just right, it might look at least maybe a bit more professional, which I did thumb through some of the photos and it did look that way. So again, I'm going into it thinking, it could be really promising. And the posters too dissuade me from thinking that it will look too small or like it's not using its budget well enough. The posters are beautiful for this movie. I mean, there's several, not just the main one, but the main one, the red, white, and black. They really picked my favorite color mixture. So I'm like, oh, this looks amazing already. But the elegance in it, I definitely see the Gothic side in terms of, again, the way it's formatted and the archway, which looks great. But there's a real element of mystery to it, too, with the ballerinas. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I did see that in some of the pictures as well. So I definitely think this movie has some promise. Let's take a look at the synopsis. I found this one very intriguing. We're going to read the IMDb synopsis, and then we'll jump into the trailer. So this says, Rebecca is searching for her sister, a young journalist who went missing while investigating a series of unfortunate events. The trail leads her to Timere? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. A remote place far from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, where amidst the tight-lipped silence of the town's inhabitants, there's an ever-growing fear of dark forces at work, and no one dares to leave their home at night. Here Rebecca meets an extravagant writer, the church warden of a town, and above all, Caleb, a charming, rich, and elegant man whose dark gaze hides a chilling secret. It's in this town, where time appears to move between the shadows and danger lurks around every corner, that Rebecca learns of the terrible truth and the battle between good and evil. So that's very fascinating, very mysterious, but really intriguing. Let's take a look at the trailer and see what I think. We're going to talk about it more in my condensed juice. Let's watching the video together. Okay.
Ciao Alfredo, sto partendo in questo momento. Il tizio che ho incontrato ieri sera mi
It would help if it had subtitles. I studied Spanish, not Italian, so... This definitely looks higher quality than some of the other ITN movies I've seen.
Questa vacanza potrebbe farmi bene. Tornerò presto. Un bacio.
It's very well shot.
C'è nessuno? Mia sorella soltanto
That's
25
beautiful.
anni.
Picked some great locations for this.
È scomparsa da 3 mesi e nessuno si è preoccupato di cercarla.
And the more earthly filter over the color scheme is great.
Resta a Timere. Una bestia.
I should know I'm getting into that with vampire films, but...
Il male vestito da uomo.
There is a really bit aggressive with some of the adult content movies. But this is really surprising. Well, it's in very capable hands. I will give it that. It just looks a bit too aggressive for me in terms of its adult content. So I think I'm going to opt out of this one. But the coloring of it does look amazing. I love the sets they picked. I see what they were saying about that gothic look. It certainly is there. I mean, especially the way it's shot at the beginning. I kind of got an Antlers vibe. Antlers had a very similar thing with its color scheme. It was very grounded, really dirty, very earth-based colors. It wasn't too flashy or too ornate or anything. I don't know. This came off... I think it adds to that darker feel, but it certainly works for me. It really does ground it into reality. Especially that shot of a church is just beautiful. I don't know of where that is, but I might want to visit. That is... I'm guessing it's a church, but that's really pretty. Yeah, it's a church. They got a menorah up there. It's certainly got some points of interest. This is not your usual ITN movie. That is for sure. It's very different from what I've seen in the past. But if only they hadn't gone so aggressive with some of their content, it may be a bit... I would be a bit more open to it. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to pass. What do you guys think about Caleb? I think it has some things going for it. Unfortunately... some of its content does taint my final assessment. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on this. Don't forget all that other good stuff. But like and subscribe and hitting that bell. Until our next ITN movie or vampire movie. Maybe the next vampire movie will be better than that. Hopefully it won't go too far. But whatever film you get to watch, maybe it's an entirely different film. I will see you guys at whatever point that is. But until then, thanks for watching this video. I love you guys. Remember to love yourselves and your fellow man. God bless. And peace.